Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today, we're trying not to have a fight, and we're gonna drink some bourbon. All right, the truth of the matter is, I think this is the distillery that we disagree about.
Oh, we don't disagree on the distillery.
Well, okay.
I think we disagree. Well, we meaning like me and everybody else, and then you disagree on this particular brand. I think is the case.
Okay, we'll see.
Did you bring it in?
Yeah.
All
so
right.
This is a Basil Hayden product for those who haven't read the title.
Bam! This is Basil Hayden Subtle Smoke, and when I think of subtlety, I think of Basil Hayden.
That's
Very subtle bourbon flavors.
Yeah.
You
He's
know,
implying it's watered down. So
it is watered down.
For those maybe who have not heard about the Basil Hayden, you're going to notice a couple things. They just went through a rebranding. It used to be Basil Hayden _S.
Yep. Implying ownership.
Yeah, because there was a guy named Basil Hayden. And there still is, well, formerly was a guy, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've changed the name. They changed the look of the bottle slightly, but it's kind of an up brand, kind of a gifty bourbon.
Yeah, the bottle does look outstanding. And that makes, it bothers me even more of what they put into it.
We'll get there. So anyway, they now have a kind of their normal bourbon. Looks similar, but it doesn't have the smoke kind of references.
Yeah, it's got the little championship belt.
They also have a toasted barrel.
That was their last expression. So they've been coming out, along with their new bottle, they've been coming out with new expressions of it. And there's a handful that came before this, 10-year.
And what they're doing, yeah, that's right, there was a 10-year as well.
There's a few even more beyond that.
But they're 80 proof, and that's the real contentious point. But then they're finished, or not flavored, but finished.
Yeah. So this one is finished a little bit differently.
Yeah, so go ahead and explain what's happening here.
So the last expression they did, the Basil Hayden Toast, they added the brown rice to the mash bill, and then they'd finish it in toasted barrels.
Correct.
I'm not sure if the brown rice is still in the mash bill. I believe it is. It doesn't say, but I think I heard that it is. Right? So don't quote me on that. What I do know is they aged this in a secondary barrel that is a new charred oak barrel, but they expose it to a steady stream of hickory smoke, assuming before the bourbon goes in it, because
we would think so.
Yeah, I couldn't really expose the barrel too much when it's filled with bourbon.
Yeah.
And then they age the bourbon a little bit longer to try to give
months.
to give it an extra little kick. Now, here's my problem with Basil Hayden. Oof, that was a solid cork pop. Everything I said about them, I take back. The most important thing in a bourbon is the cork pop.
No, it's the look of the bottle.
And this was an A+.
It was a really nice. The wrestling championship belt is a seller as well.
It does look really nice, and they put all this information on the front, which is cool. But my problem is that it's expensive. It's an expensive bourbon
at 80 proof.
At 80 proof, exactly.
It's a legitimate point of contention. It better bring something to justify $52, $52 or so, and it varies, regionally and so on. I find I kind of agree. I wish Basil Hayden were a little bit higher proof point.
Yeah.
But I actually really, really like the flavors.
Yeah, it's not that it's a bad flavor or that it's bad bourbon. I mean, everything that comes from Beam I like.
Yeah.
It's just that it masquerades as a premium bourbon because of the price and the cool bottle and stuff, and it just isn't to me.
So I had a thought as you were saying that sentence, because I know where you were going. It's almost like this is a bourbon that's not for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a gift bourbon. I think it is the number one because it looks great on the shelf. It's what people buy to give to someone else.
Or it's a good line of bourbons for someone who wants to consistently drink bourbon but never wants to go past that 80 proof point, and they're fine with that.
I think there is a category of people who...
There is.
That's not us, but
they want the idea of drinking a premium bourbon.
Totally. I think again, got something on that one.
Yeah, it reminds me of the toast, actually.
I actually considered and should have brought the toast to compare it, but...
A little graham crackery, maybe?
Yeah, but there's something there. The maple smoke, I think maybe... I sold it, but I had a smoker for... I had a Big Green Egg. And hickory wood chips we would use occasionally, and
I use
really
those
gets
too.
a good flavor.
This is, it's got kind of a graham crackery vibe to it almost.
Could be.
And a little bit of smoke. Let's get into it before we yap for too long before getting to the taste here. Cheers. Just a little bit more here.
I feel this taste did a hard right turn or left turn or something. Like it hit with like initial kind of bourbon-y notes, but then it really brought something different. And I guess you're gonna call that the maple smoke, kind of, or hickory smoke?
Hickory smoke.
Hickory smoke reference. It's a little bit like you're sitting at a campfire and you just got hit in the face with the gust of wind and the smoke.
You said maple. I actually get kind of a mapley vibe from this.
I think so too. I think I'm actually getting a maple syrup kind of note.
I'm getting the smoke more on the finish, like on the back end of it. Now, not just the lingering finish, but you swallow it and then that's when that smoke note. But I feel like it's really subtle. Hence the name, but.
I'm getting something. At this point, I would say this is not my favorite bourbon I've ever had. But I like it, and I do think it has a unique flavor. But it's kind of like there's an initial hit of flavor, which is good. Then there's nothing, and it's almost like the flavor drops to almost nothing.
Yeah, I'm experiencing that as well.
And then the finish comes back, and it has a nice finish with the smoky kind of character.
Yeah.
Like there's no mid. Like it really, like the alcohol proof like drops.
I feel like there's not much up front either. I'm getting all the flavor on the back end of this. I mean, I get it, the mid drops for sure, but I'm not even really getting much at the beginning. It's just, good people of Jim Beam Distilling Company, just please. You don't have to add extra stuff to your Basil Hayden to make it taste better. You just have to take some of the freaking water out. It's that simple. I mean, any of these Basil Hayden products at 94 proof would be really good. I honestly, I think there's enough difference between the 90 even or 94 proof point versus 80 that when you get that low, there's a drastic drop off. And I think they're putting a lot of effort into this, and it's got potential. And I don't understand.
I think they legitimately have a group of customers who won't touch anything above 80.
Right, and I get that. But so here's the thing. If you've got enough stock of Basil Hayden to do an experiment like this, like try this with the Knob Creek and see what that does. Like something that is a little older and higher proof that you have a ton of.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and throw that in the hickory smoke barrel. I want to see what that tastes like, because this definitely is better than regular Basil Hayden. But it's just boring because you know, like you were saying, there's a lot of people that want, I think you're getting the illusion that you're drinking a premium bourbon because you're paying extra money for it.
Extra money and it looks good.
A little different and it looks good.
Yeah.
But, and no offense to those people, I do totally understand that. You and I are just into higher proof stuff.
Usually.
For the most part.
I genuinely like the regular Basil Hayden, and I love the Basil Hayden toast. This, I'm gonna try a few more times. But at the moment, and sometimes the first time you have a bourbon, you have an opinion and then you revisit it and you change your opinion. I'm hoping that happens because I don't absolutely love this today. I like it. It's a perfectly good bourbon. Is there a better way to spend $52? I would say yes at this point.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like Evan Williams single barrel, it's 86 proof, and I love that bourbon.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is.
And it's less than half the price.
Yeah, but there's still something like, even at 86, you know, it makes a difference. Buffalo Trace is 90 proof, and it doesn't feel like a watered down bourbon.
Now I will say, we've said that bourbons tend to either need extra age or extra proof.
This one does have the age.
It does drink like it's a bit older. And I think it actually says that they say extra age. It doesn't say specific. But I do agree, it tastes and feels like it's definitely more than 4 years.
Yeah.
Quite a bit more probably.
This is not bad. It's just frustrating that it could be so much better.
Right.
And if you're gonna do these kind of experiments, I just don't really necessarily understand doing them on this bourbon. You know, because maybe if you're marketing regular Basil Hayden to people who like 80 proof and that's just what they're into, they're probably not exploring a whole lot of different flavor profiles in the bourbon.
Maybe it's a gateway into the new Knob Creek line that hasn't come out yet.
See, that would be cool. I'd be interested in that. And here's the thing. If I go to somebody's house and all they have is Basil Hayden's, I'll happily sit and sip on it. It's not like I think it's nasty or anything like that.
Sure.
I just don't know what the hell this is for. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think I do. It's for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's for people who are stuck at 80 proof, and that's not an insult at all. That's where they are.
Yep, and there's nothing wrong with that. You like your bourbon the way you like it.
And they like the look of the bottle, and I think I'm totally guilty of buying bottles because of how they look.
This should be $35.
I think at $35, the line, the three of them, would be a steal.
Yeah.
All three of them for $100.
I feel like that price is added on there intentionally to create that premium bourbon.
Yeah, it's one of those.
You know, they've made a bottle that they can essentially overcharge for.
Yep, I think so.
So that's, I guess, you know, another one of my issues with the Basil Hayden line, where it's just kind of frustrating. But
yeah,
I mean, this isn't bad. It's watered down again, but it's got some, you know, graham cracker s'mores. You know, it's got a little bit of that smoke. You do get that. It's got some nice maple notes to it. And all those things would be, you know, I mean, they're nice flavor notes for sure.
They're just turned down a couple of points too far.
Yep, exactly. All right, well, this has been Basil Hayden's Subtle Smoke on the Bourbon Note. I'm Ben.
I'm Greg. This has really been a subtle review.
It has.
Cheers.
I feel like I kept that polite.
Oh, you were subtle.
Yeah, I really could have gone hard in the paint on that, but I chose to not do it.
Yeah, hardly even noticed it.